Welcome to the Football Show on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. I'm Peter Martin, delighted that you could join us on the programme. And with me, Alan Ruff, Alec Ray and Tam McManus. Lots to talk about, all or nothing really. That's what the focus will be on today's programme because quite simply, we are looking at Scotland against Denmark with a chance to top the group. A win is a must for us, Ruffy.
It certainly is. I think everybody's a bit confused with that performance. I think after 60 minutes, if it hadn't been for Craig Gordon, it might have been 4 or 5. In the end, I thought we deserved the draw. I don't know what happened in the last 20-odd minutes, but certainly they got their act together. And at the end, as I said, I don't think we deserved to win it, but I didn't think we deserved to lose it. So, I mean, even Stevie Clark's a bit baffled by the whole situation. You know, you want to come out of the traps early on. You want to be in the front foot, but that's not been the case. So, fortunate is obviously we got away with it with the Belarus result. So the team know what they've got to do for this game.
Yeah, I mean, everybody was talking as if there were so many different permutations, but it was all about maybe going over and getting the minimum, which was a draw.
Yeah,
Alec, and boy, they were deflated by the end of it. I mean, we'll talk about Denmark in the game and what's expected, and we'll hear from obviously what Stevie Clark had to say, but the game itself, we just didn't get out of the traps.
no, and I think that's been a concern. I don't think the performances recently, you know, if you go back to the last couple of games as well, I thought they've been pretty stale at times, but they've managed to get the results, Peter. But Ruffy's right, you know, I thought for the opening 60 minutes or so, I thought it was very flat and you feared the worst, you know, and that's a concern for Stevie Clark. But obviously, when you actually take it in the bigger picture, after 90 odd minutes or so, then the Scotland fans are jubilant that they know they're still in with a fighting chance of getting to the World Cup in the USA next year. And you're thinking to yourself, how's this all played out? And I'm thinking to myself, is this all playing out? I'm thinking, I've got a feeling that this might actually happen. Do you know what I mean? Because you're saying the performances are not great, you're losing games, and then all of a sudden you think, if you can win tomorrow night, then you've got a chance to go to, well, you're going to the World Cup. So for me, the whole thing seems to be written in the stars.
Well, that would be great, Ruffy, if that was the case, because it's you've been there before when it's all or nothing. You know, you've been there at Anfield back in '77.
Yeah, you're right. You know, unfortunately, I had players in my team that had been in European Cup finals and had to deal with winning league championships in England and all that. So the pedigree, the player that we had, you know, adapted to that game. You know, they'd all been there, done it before, but the circumstances of that game...
Did you get a feeling leading up to that it was written?
I think I got a feeling because of the players we had in the team. You know, the players, just as I've said there, had done it, been there, done it. They made a mistake of taking the game to Anfield, Wales, you know, to cash in on money. Yep. And that was a failing because the stadium was full of Scottish supporters, you know, so that was a start. But they had good players in their team as well. But no, I think it was one of the games that could have went either way. First goal was going to be going to be crucial. Unfortunately, we got it through Kenny.
Yeah. Overall, the game itself, suddenly you think to yourself, the problems that Scotland have didn't press quickly enough, Tam. Then you're looking at the key chances that you want to try and create in the game, and to go a goal down after 7 minutes certainly put us in the back foot.
Yeah, it did. I think it was a very unusual Scotland performance. I think we're usually quite solid and stuffy and hard to break down and don't create much. I think that's usually what you see from a Steve Clark team. You know, organised and defensively pretty solid. And the other night it was the other way about, really. I mean, I thought defensively we were all over the place. I thought the two centre-backs who were pretty reliable for Scotland and Steve Clark were awful on the night, both of them. I think the first goal, you know, Suter misjudges the bounce of the ball, and then Hanley gets... You know, the boy drifts by him too easily, and then they score. And then, you know, I think the second and third goal are both mistakes as well. So, and then we create 5, 6, 7 glorious chances. I think the second half, you know, we missed 3 absolute sitters, clear-cut chances. So, you're right, we could have been 4 or 5 down after an hour, but in the end, you're sitting going, how did we not win that? How did we not at least draw that game? So, listen, I do think that it'll need to be a much better performance against Denmark. Obviously, we'll speak about their result against Belarus, but I think they'll be smarting from that result. You know, it's that you look at it on paper and you think that was a gimme for them. I think it was 20 to 1 for a draw, never mind Belarus to win. So that's the first point they picked up in the whole group. It's a real shocker for Denmark, but I think that they'll come with obviously a point to prove and get the point that they need. But I think if we play to our potential and we play the way we played the last half an hour, Peter, where it was like the shackles are off.
But that, see, the thing is
I don't play like that, Alex, didn't we know, but the shackles are off.
But see, the thing is, does that know, kind of, you're saying, because it's a one-off game.
It suits us that we need to win, I think.
Aye, but this is the thing is, look, why does it take 60 minutes?
Yeah.
You're 3-0 down, and then all of a sudden, it's like, just throw caution to the wind, and we look a wee bit better, and we're creating a lot more chances.
We just played with freedom. It was just like, right, we need to get something out of the game now, you know, and...
You go with the two centre-halves again then, Tam?
I think he'll bring McKenna in.
You think?
I think he'll bring McKenna in for his pace at the back. I think that he might come in for Hanley. That would be maybe the one for me. I think he might play Suter and McKenna. I think the rest of the team probably pick itself. Lyndon Dykes possibly for Shea Adams. Shea Adams took a lot of stick there. Yeah, he missed a couple of chances, Peter, and I think Dykes in this type of game, the physical presence against Denmark might come in as well. And I think McTominay's a better player when he's got somebody he can run off of. I think McTominay looks better.
He's got to play the wee boy Doak. He's got to play.
Yeah, I think he'll play.
He's got to play him to get everybody off their seat.
Yeah.
Just give him the ball and let him run at somebody, and a bit of quality ball in that gets everybody buzzing. He's got to play him.
But if anything, it just highlights to us our deficiencies that we've had over the decade. I mean, if you think about, I'm just throwing it out there, the difference with England, who have qualified without losing a goal, but also you look at the man who's scoring the goals. I think he's now scored more international goals, in key games than Pele and Harry Kane. And you look at what we have had to endure looking for a striker that can score goals on a regular basis, and we ain't got one. And Shea Adams' misses were absolutely woeful.
No, Tom's right. If we had a quality striker, we'd probably won the game with the chances. They weren't just like half chances; they were clear. It's been a issue for a long time with Scotland. Somebody who hit the back on a regular basis, and not just that, like the link-up play. And so I think for a while now, it's been a position where we've really struggled.
Since Kenny Miller, I think we've not really had one, or James McFadden. We've not really had somebody you could hang your hat on for Scotland. In terms of Lee Griffiths come in and obviously done well, scored a few goals, but I think even maybe the last 10 years since Kenny Miller retired, we've not really had a number 9 that you could hang your hat on and score important goals.
We've always seemed to have had a Kenny Miller, somebody who's prepared to do a shift.
Charge about.
Kenny get the goals as well, but Kenny...
We've not had anybody in.
What did he get? 18?
Aye.
18, something like that, wasn't it?
Big goal, remember the one against Italy, one against Germany, so he scored big goals as well for us, but... Yeah, I do think that that's the one area that we're lacking. I think the middle of the park, you seen it the other night, were really, really good, up front, created so many chances, but we're going to have to play a lot better against Denmark. I don't know what sort of headspace Denmark have been, Alec.
No,
look at it. They've bottled it. They've bottled it.
Getting confused just because they drew 2 each with Belarus. I saw the highlights of that game. They could have won 6-2. Denmark were all over Belarus.
I know, but they didn't.
Chances, clear-cut chances. I know they only drew 2 each, but it wasn't as if they weren't in the game and weren't creating. They were creating very, very good chances, and Eriksson in particular was just dominant. So I don't know what do we do? I think we're good when we
have a go.
That's why I like that we've got to win. See the other night when we can get a draw. I don't like that. I wouldn't like that as a player anyway. Oh, you just need to draw the game. So do you play for a draw? You can't play for a draw as a player. You can't. What do you do? If they score the first goal, you need to come out. So I like it's clear. We need to win the game.
Do you know why I try and get the punters on side right away? So see if you start in the front foot, like a high press, get after team, and then play a typical Scottish game. Like the old days, you used to get after people, a bit more back to front, and get the crowd going with you. Because see if it's mundane and things, and the anxiety kicks in.
That's exactly what I've been saying for years. There's been too often countries have came to Hampden and just strolled about with the ball. Just get the ball and just pick him out or pick him out.
You were saying there about we couldn't get the press and they were popping through. Is it we need to try and kind of impact teams that are possession based, so that you can actually get turnover of possession, because from middle to front we're actually no bad when we do that. We've got people who can get after people.
Yeah. You
look at the boys down the left hand side for the 2 goals, so you're looking at kind of that kind of momentum going, and the boy McTominay arriving into the box.
Yeah.
He can get a goal for us.
But the pass through to Doak's got to score.
Aye.
It's a great pass, a good move, it's a good build up as well.
That's why I think he'll play McKenna at the back.
Well, the only problem I have with it...
Play maybe 5-10 yards higher up at the back and maybe squeeze the game a wee bit more with his pace.
Yeah, the problem I have with the whole thing is the manager's reactive instead of proactive. And you look at it, Ruffy, we were 3-0 down.
I know what you're going to say.
McKenna Ralston come on in 75 minutes. Then you've got Dykes and Shanklin in 82, and then you've got Hurst with 2 minutes to go. I don't know what he's supposed to do with 2 minutes to go, but nevertheless, you know, there were countless opportunities where he could have been proactive, he could have changed it. If you are sluggish and you're thinking to yourself, we've got to get a point here, get somebody on to make a difference, change the way you're playing, but he doesn't do it. And it's not as if it's just a unique one-off situation. We witnessed it, you know, in Germany. It was painful. He just consistently sticks with a team until it becomes unbearably painful, and you think, you've got to do something.
Yeah, I think that's probably his main criticism from a lot of Scotland supporters, is maybe just change it too late. You know, he doesn't just, as soon as Greece get a man centre-half, bang, right strikers on, try and win the game, try and get back into the game. You know, and McKenna and Ralston coming on as subs, the first two subs, and you're getting beat, will baffle a lot of people as well. It's a bit of a strange one, but listen, it's all or nothing. You know, they'll be building a statue of Steve Clarke if we beat Denmark on Tuesday, or if we get beaten in the playoffs, they'll be wanting him out the door. So this is not a huge game for Scotland, but I think it's a big game for
anyway, isn't it?
Clarke, yeah.
He's coming at the end of the road, so it's like, this is if you roll the dice.
Yeah, but and that point you make there, I mean, I nearly fell off the chair listening to the press conference today when somebody said, you know, these players have a chance to be legends. And I thought, away in Guy's piece, you know, chance to be legends. Are we kidding ourselves here? I mean, they're not going to be legends. It's qualifying for a bloody tournament, for God's sake. You know, you become a legend if you're suddenly consistently producing at the top level for your country. You know, and they're not legends. What they are is a workmanlike side that's got a great camaraderie. They've got a great spirit.
I know, you can see that. You can see that, because he could easily have buckled when it went to 3. You know, and so that people often talk about playing for the manager, and clearly as a group still willing to dig in, and that's what gives me hope tomorrow night. And as I said, I think it's aligned the way this is all played out. Even if you go back to the Greece one at Hampden, I thought Greece were decent for a good part of that game, and then obviously Scotland came in and got the goals. But I look at this tomorrow night and I just think to myself, God, I've got a feeling there's rumours that there's a lot of the players have got the flu as well for them as well. So that could be a real bonus.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. I think Rasmus Højlund is one of them. Joachim Andersen as well. Doubts. They're trying to isolate some of the players so that there's not this flu
You've seen this movie before, but haven't you?
Oh, yeah, it's not a double bluff.
Well, the only reason I'm going to say this to you is this. Let's see what's
about flying about the park.
Before we talk about the game itself, this is the way Scotland lined up against obviously Greece. Craig Gordon in goal, Hickey, Suter, Hanley and Robertson. Then it was Ferguson, McGinn, Christie, McTominay, Ben Gannon, Doak and Shea Adams. So you reckon, Tam, you'd make 2 changes there?
Yeah, I'd bring Dykes in. I just think his physicality, you can get crosses in the box, stick balls in behind. And I'd bring McKenna in on the left-hand side for Hanley, who I thought was poor the other night. Because I think it gives you a better balance with a left foot and a right foot, and I think his recovery pace will allow Scotland to go and press Denmark higher up the pitch and maybe play 5-10 yards higher and maybe get after them. So that'd be the 2 changes that I would make personally.
Yeah, okay. Before I get your thoughts on it, thanks to so many of you for joining us again. Home advantage means nothing, says Gersey, as we've blown it before.
It's an optimistic.
Yes, and some Aurora says we haven't topped a World Cup qualification group since 1982. It's a huge game. Absolutely, it's a huge game. And I think also SK says McKenna for Hanley and Dykes for Adams. Stop copying me, Tam. Ruffy, what's your take on that?
I'm not a tactical wizard at all, because I'm a goalkeeper.
Change the goalkeeper?
I would just go...
Would you change the keeper?
No, I know he would. When I saw the look in his face at the third goal, he knew...
He'd made a mistake.
I don't know what he tried to do. I think he tried to just push it away and he just never got enough on it. But no, I wouldn't have came. He made the saves.
He'll have some good saves.
He made the saves early on. As I said, it could have been 4, it could have been 5 with that situation. No, if I looked at it, as I say, I'm not a tactician, I'd just go the whole hog. I'd go 3 at the back, 5 in midfield, and get 2 strikers on.
Do you play Dykes and Adams, or Dykes and Shanklin?
2 strikers.
Adams and Shanklin?
Get 2 strikers on there. You got a better chance of scoring with 2 strikers than one just running.
4-4-2 then?
Possibly, aye.
Would you play Shanklin? These two boys can't score goals.
No. And they have to say, Shank's got 10 goals already this season. I would be inclined to maybe bring him later on when it's a wee bit more.
What's later on?
60, 65.
It depends how the game's going for starters. Yeah. So ideally, because if they're 1-0 up or 2-0 up, he's not going to bring him on. He'll try and keep, what he's like. He's pragmatic and he'll try and shore it up.
Yeah.
But I'd quite like the fact of the boy Dykes, because see if you're looking for an up and at him and charging about and bustling and hustling, and he's nicked important goals of late as well. So potentially bring him in as well. But
would you play with the two?
I wouldn't be adverse to trying it, Peter. No, I wouldn't be adverse to trying to have a right go. No, I don't think he will either. I think that would mean that he would probably have to sacrifice one of the three behind him, wouldn't it? So you have.
He likes to play one and one off.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying. So
Christie, McTominay, and Ben Doak.
Yeah. So the thing is, McTominay won't sit out unless he goes into the middle of the park. So so what would that look like? McTominay and potentially McGinn, Ferguson getting. So that might be if you went with the two up top. Because Christie and Doak have scored at the weekend. You can't.
He loves Christie. He loves Christie.
I think
I don't even think we should talk about two. That's just your. I don't even think we should even consider it. I mean,
if you're talking about
Roddy says spot on, Ruffy. Two strikers is a must. Listen.
Is he a goalie as well, Roddy?
If you play Doak on one side and you've got Robertson who was putting quality balls into the box, and you're getting Doak's forward and he's putting quality balls, you've got a better chance with two strikers in there going for them than one.
He's selling this, isn't he?
Hold on a minute.
Mike Bassett.
What are you trying to sell it to us for? We're giving you the realistic approach of the manager, who was not going to go.
Well,
with
that's
two
just
strikers.
my views as a goalkeeper.
Yeah, but he's not going to go with it because you've got to read the room.
Yeah.
And the manager who consistently over a long period of time, Tam, we've watched him in tournaments, we've watched him in the qualification, and by the way,
his argument will be he's got 2 tournaments playing that way.
But that's the point I was going to make to you. This is not an absolute assault on Steve Clarke. He's a good man. He's got to stand by his record, and if he gets us to the World Cup, Steve Clarke will go down as one of the best managers in Scottish international football, and we've got to pay homage to that. But right now, as an observation on it, he's got us to the European Championships. It was terrible to watch, wasn't it? I thought we blew the opportunity because of his cautious approach.
The last game was
terrible. But this time around, if he gets us to a major tournament, great. The Tartan Army want to be there, but I just want a wee bit more. I want us to be a wee bit more expansive. I want us to, this game is all about avoiding what we witnessed the last time, which is, we had a 2-leg affair with Holland. McFadden scores, and then we go over there and they absolutely battered us. Remember that, Ruffy? And then Italy, I still painful on the referee. I thought the referee was murdered.
Diabolical.
Terrible decision.
The support have got a big part to play because I don't know if you've noticed, when we're behind, they're turning on the players. When it was
I think that's a modern day thing.
When it was 3-0 there in Greece, it was there. You could hear it, So it's very important, as we all say, we've got to be on the front foot. We've got to have them behind us rather than against us, because there's going to be a lot of nerves on the night. So you're better having 50, 60,000 cheering for you than against you.
Well, David says the luck Steve Clarke is carrying is unbelievable. He is a shocking manager, Peter. Well, I don't think he's a shocking manager. I think he's a manager who is very pragmatic in his approach.
Agreed.
And he's got in his mind one thing. And listen, we can't criticise him for the quality of loyalty, Alec, because they're on the verge. This is what Steve Clarke had to say at the press conference today when he came in. And again, he wasn't getting any overly excited about it. He says, this was always the scenario that we had in our head, that this could be the chance, a home game against Denmark to qualify for a World Cup. Everyone's in a good place. That's it. Yeah, that is as exciting as it gets. If you'd asked Steve Clarke at the start,
he'd have bitten the hand off you.
So we all would have.
No, absolutely.
I think they were the third best team in the group.
Well,
genuinely, I think we're the third best team in the group.
His point is, Tam, we were seeded as the third best team, so we're now second.
Yeah.
So he's punching. He's punching.
We punch above our weight. If we top this group, we've punched above our weight without a doubt. Yeah. I think we're the third best team in it.
Absolutely, and by the way, Ruffy, you've got to pay tribute to him. I always try and say in this programme, and I know sometimes you know, you've got to look at it and offer criticism at times, but you've got to be balanced and say, well, listen, we might be nitpicking on certain things, but when the results are there and he has to get them, he gets them, and we've been to that major tournament and we've enjoyed that.
I think another plus as well is he's gave us quite a good squad. I think over the years he's gave a lot of players caps. I think we now have a squad with
a mature squad, isn't it?
Mature with 40, 50, 60 caps. You know, so they've all got experience of playing in these games. And I
Didn't have that to start with.
No, that's what I'm saying. I think he's made the Scotland squad better than what it was before.
Yeah, so that's great credit to him. I remember sitting next to him in the early part of his tenure, and we were at a function together, and he was going to be up speaking on the stage with me, and I remember sitting down having the dinner with him, and I said to him, "What the hell are you going to do here?" I said, "You've got no centre halves, and you're looking for a right back.
That's right.
You've got about 8 midfielders and you've got no strikers."
That's right.
And he looked at me and he said, "That's the problem." He says, and his job was, "I'm going to scour everywhere and see if we can get somebody." Yeah. I don't think, and I'm being brutally honest, tell me I'm wrong, I don't think he's solved the backline problem. I think we're poor at the back. I think we make mistakes that force us into a situation where, more often than not, sometimes we're chasing it. We have to score 2 to even think about a draw.
But we haven't got anybody else.
Do you know the thing is? So we've had Hanley in playing for Scotland, and you know he's not even getting game for his team down in England at times.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like John Suter, up until about a year ago, wasn't a starter for Rangers. Obviously, he's cemented that over the last year or so, 18 months. And then you've got McKenna, I think he's a really steady performer. And by the way, I think he's only about 28, 29 still. I still think there's a wee bit more in him.
Yeah.
But out with that, you obviously tried the boy Cooper at Leeds, and you're thinking, he wasn't quite at that level either.
No.
I didn't quite see that. But
As well.
so that you're looking at that and going, you know, out with A3, I'm thinking, who do you get?
Michael says, if we don't win tomorrow, I'd sack Steve Clarke and look at someone else for the playoff.
I don't think he'll have to. I think he'll...
No, he'll go to the playoff.
No, he'd go to the playoff.
Oh, aye. But when at the end of the day, I think he's wanting to go back to a club team. You know, I think he's had enough of it. I think he's had enough of...
I'm not too sure he wants to go back to a club team, Rob.
No.
I think he'll just sail off into the
Director
sunset.
of football somewhere, maybe.
Maybe something like that. You know, you don't go back to football and be a coach or
he's done his bit.
He's done his bit.
He's done his bit.
I think he was at a press conference and he said...
You'd like another crack at it?
Club football, yeah.
Yeah, well...
To go back to the centre-halves, I think the two centre-halves are very good when we're under the cosh. But when we're not under the cosh and we're going forward from midfield forward, I think they're vulnerable. There's a gap there that they're vulnerable for people to have a run at us.
That's an interesting point. I must admit, I do think we've always been weak in the centre of defence, Tom.
Yeah, I think there's some games where we look pretty solid, you know, and there's other games where you were all over the place, but he's not getting anybody else. We've went through everybody, you know, Ryan Porteous, guys like that. Craig Halkett's doing well at Hearts. Maybe he's one that could possibly step in at some point, but... Who?
Jack Henry's still there. Jack Henry's still there.
Still been about it, isn't he?
He's went abroad, isn't he? He's playing abroad.
Saudi,
I think he's in Saudi now, yeah.
He's still there.
He's abroad.
Yeah, but he's still in that squad.
That's right, yeah.
I liked him. I liked the looks of him. I thought he was good in the ball, in modern day centre half,
as well.
and he could defend.
Well, the key here is they've got to get on the front foot. We can actually consistently look and say, I'd play this, I'd play that. I think if anything, I don't see him making any great changes. 2 would be a shock. I think he'll maybe tweak it with 1. And then
He's quite loyal. He's very loyal to players.
He is very loyal.
He's not going to make wholesale changes.
And by the way, why shouldn't he be loyal when he's got it to the point where we say it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Steve, do you want Denmark final game, winner takes all?
All day.
Boom, all day.
Well, do you know the thing is as well? He will be within that camp, so he will be able to gauge the mood of certain players. Now, obviously, there was 1 or 2 who had a nightmare the other night, so he'll be looking and kind of gauging how they're running about the squad. Now, Lyndon Dykes will be bubbly because it's an opportunity for him. And, you look at Shea Adams, who might well be going, I still
Under
can
pressure.
a couple of them. So, again, I think if you're a manager, you kind of take these things into consideration.
The funny thing is, no matter what suggestion you come up with.
Somebody comes back.
I think the Tartan Army, if they are indeed Tartan Army on our feed right across all our platforms, they're just not having it. I think they're in an angry mode at the moment because one of the comments from SK says Henry is playing for a Saudi team sitting in 11th place in the league. He's awful. And Bob says Halkett's not international standard.
Right, so we've not got any centre halves then, so that's it.
Well, that's
do you know
the nature of it.
Do you see the thing is, Peter, see when you're sat here, you've got to pluck a couple of names that potentially might do you a turn. Because there isn't a big pool there. It's not as if they're jumping out of the page and you're going, oh, he's a stick on, he's a stick on. So you end up plucking out guys that are actually doing okay at the club level, but are they top internationals? Not sure.
Well, it's funny you saying that because, I mean, by the way, and I have to say I'm not making him in any way a scapegoat, and I'm not picking on him and saying he's this or he's that, but Anthony Ralston has been consistently in that Scotland squad and consistently at times featured. And at times he's been in and out of the Celtic team. I mean, this boy's in double figures for cabs. Do you know what I mean? And it's a bit like before him it was Stephen O'Donnell.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
it's a position that we've really struggled for real quality over a long period of time as well. And I mean that with the greatest respect because you boys have got more caps than I ever did. But the actual reality is that we've actually struggled for various positions over a long time.
Yeah.
And we're not developing it. And I actually like Ralston. I think he's a steady Eddie.
Yeah.
I think he goes about his business. He's probably won numerous titles.
Always fit and available, isn't he?
Absolutely. Yeah. And he's as honest
and he's not
as
a culprit.
He's always fit and available.
You know,
he's a really good professional because you could see him at the Celtic team for 3 months.
And he comes
in
and
he's fit 90 minutes, no bother, looks after himself. So
yeah,
solid
I think we've got more to worry about performing on the night than him.
No, I'm just saying, I'm just looking at it. We can't find centre halves. We're looking at it and we're saying to ourselves, we want to be in the high press. And by the way, we are in this situation. I mean, you talk about a flip over a course of a couple of minutes. We've been done 3-2. We've missed numerous chances because we know we can't score. I mean, by the way, this could have been academic had Dykes not taken 2 touches against Denmark when he was straight through the ball. I mean, that was a great opportunity. And that tells you, same as Shea Adams the other night there, taking 1 and 2 touches, you're a striker worth your salt. Bang, you're hitting it early, you're not letting the goalkeeper get set, you're at least hitting the target. We couldn't do that. And we couldn't do it against Denmark over there when there was a real chance Dykes had and he blew it. Now, you then say to yourself, 2 minutes later when the game's over and we've blown it and everybody's flat as a pancake thinking, oh my God, we're going to the playoffs. And then you look and you think,
here we go.
Denmark. I mean, honestly, Alec, if you're the manager there and you see them, Belarus's first point in the group, 2-2.
1 to 50 on Denmark. 1 to 50 on.
You see,
£50 to win a pound.
The other wee worrying thing.
Do you lump on it?
Oh,
wee worrying thing.
Who's left?
Small worrying thing about it is it's no winner takes all. No, for Denmark is no.
But again,
Denmark don't need one. See if you take that Belarus game out the road with Denmark, they've not been beat. They've only lost a goal in the whole group, apart from Saturday, the weekend. That's what we're up against. They haven't been beaten in the group. Nobody's beat them. They beat Greece home and away. You know, so you're hoping they're having another off night.
Yeah.
You know, but we need to perform.
But they're no world beaters.
No, they're not top.
As if you're playing in Spain or Italy or something.
The only thing I would say to you is this, Ruffy. Now, you say they're not world beaters, right? And we know they're not a special Denmark side. But let me tell you this. Have a look at this side, right? This is the Denmark side that drew 2 each, right? Kasper Schmeichel at Celtic, Christensen at Eintracht Frankfurt, the other Christensen at Barcelona, Vestergaard at Leicester, Dorgu at Man United, Isaacson at Lazio, Højbjerg at Marseille, Norgard at Arsenal, Damsgaard at Brentford, Eriksson at Wolfsburg, and Jonas Wind at Wolfsburg as well.
I wouldn't swap their midfield for ours.
No, I agree with you. I think our midfield is really, really good. I think our midfield is better than their midfield. But, you know, if Højlund...
Man for man, you think they're a bit stronger?
I'm thinking they're a bit stronger, are you not?
Yeah, but the thing is, and see at international level, I think that I think that if you can let a goal out of something and it gives you a chance, I think you're better, more capable of actually seeing that through, as opposed to domestic football, because I think they can be more resilient, they're more dogged, better organisation, and I think that's what Steve Clarke relies on a lot of times.
Yeah, I agree with you. You know, and by the way, what do you agree with what Ruffy's saying? I mean, they're tough to beat. So we're going to have to be not what Steve Clarke looks for normally. He's saying, I mean, I understand where he's coming from. He said it's time to get the balance right. Where we've got to get the balance right by going forward and then not being rank rotten going back the way.
Yeah, but I think that's one of the things, and I think Ruffy touched on it earlier on about in the transition. We look as if we kind of struggle because teams play right through us and they get opportunities quite easily. Whereas when we're in structure and we're not as gung-ho, I think that's one of the reasons why we've been successful under Steve Clarke. And again, that goes back to your personnel, because if we do go and be very expansive, but another flip side of it is if we can press in a structure that allows us to get after people quite quickly and not playing through these transitional moments, then we can maybe get the crowd on our side, and then you never know how they're going to react.
Yeah.
Plus you look at it as well, Peter. What is their headspace at the minute, Denmark? They must have thought we're at the World Cup. They must have thought we're at the World Cup. We've got Belarus at home. We've not picked up a point. We're going to the World Cup, and then they've got to play this game now. What's their mindset like? They've already bottled it once. I think all the pressure in this game is on Denmark. Denmark should be at the World Cup now. We've got beat and they've no won.
They never bottled it.
They did.
There were a couple of mistakes.
Ruffy,
I watched the highlights.
Ruffy,
Honestly, it could have
Ruffy,
been
they drew with
6 or 7.
Belarus.
I know.
Doesn't matter if she should have won 8-2. They drew.
As if they had a 90-minute or nothing. They lost 2 bad goals. Take that away from you.
If we'd have drawn with Belarus and hadn't got the maximum points,
Yeah.
we'd have been going, that's it, he's got to go, it's madness and it's carnage.
Yep.
And they'll be looking at that and going, oof. I think as well, I'm a bit like you, Tom. I actually feel as if they'll be sitting there going, my God, we still had this done and dusted.
Aye.
And now we've got to go there.
Pressure's on.
How many fans did they bring over? 3,000-4,000 maybe?
But by the way, with that 3,000-4,000, you've got Schmeichel out there who's been absolutely scathing.
Aye.
And a number of the players in Denmark have been scathing of the fact that they dropped the ball on it. I think they blew it. I don't care about chances. At the end of the day, it's the old Kenny Dalglish line. You know, you can have the best game ever, but the scoreline doesn't say that. If you know,
it reflects with the facts, yeah.
2-2.
I think
it
the
doesn't
pressure's
say
on them,
after
Peter.
2-2.
Missed a load of
Denmark
chances.
should have won this. They missed a load of chances.
It's a free hit for us. It's a free hit. We should not win this by
60
chance.
minutes in Greece.
Eh?
What does it say after 60 minutes in Greece?
We were in the playoffs, 100% in the playoffs, a 3-0 done. We're in the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a free hit for us, honestly, it is. I don't think many expect us to win either.
Don't I tell you something? I don't think it's going to be easy. I think it's going to be painful. Well,
It's always painful, isn't it? It's never easy for us.
It is painful because you're in a situation where you're saying to yourself, I know the manager. I know the way he likes to...
He's going to be pragmatic.
Absolutely. He's going to it's going to be 20 minutes of suddenly the Tartan Army is just going to fall silent. The last game at Hampden, I was sitting in the stand and I'm thinking, this is like a morgue. It's almost as if the fans are so used to the way that he has this team set up. And by the way, it's not any different. You're right, Tam. It's not any different from what's gone before. When Craig Brown qualified for the World Cup, in the press, we were slaughtering him because we thought it was dull. But he was also,
again,
Craig,
pragmatic.
was one of those guys who said, this is how we've got to do it, this is how we've got to play, and this will get us the end
Did
result.
we qualify quite easily with Craig? I can't remember the group. I can't remember. Did we win by 2 or 3 points? Did we have? Was it tense? Were we up against it?
No, it was tens. I think.
I know, but the group. I'm trying to think. I know I shouldn't ask you the now because you've not got a chance to look at it. But I can't remember if we qualified convincingly.
Yeah, but
It's not Austria. I remember Kevin Gallagher scored the goal with Parkhead.
yeah, it was Celtic Park. I think they. Joey Taysom, Joey thing that sticks in my head about that I actually didn't like at the time. I think they booed Gary McAllister on. I mean, it was just ridiculous. Just ridiculous.
What do you do for Gary Mack now?
Take Gary McAllister in a minute. Do you know what I mean? Honestly,
It's a tough school at times.
it really is. I mean, listen, we're I think there's a generation, and I include myself in this, a generation where we just thought we qualify for World Cups all the time because we'd.
Well, I did it at that time, Peter. I didn't think it would ever go this long because I was floating about that team and they had a really good midfield at the time. Lambert, Collins, Gary Mack.
Thanks for this one. Skeeden says we qualified by beating Latvia in the last game at Celtic Park. So, you know, absolutely. And Greg says, Ruffy says, so we had European Cup winners in our team, 1977 versus Wales. He says, I don't think anyone had won a European Cup at that point. Well, I mean, let's not split hairs on it. By the time he got, if you look at the photograph of 1982, the 1982 squad that Ruffy played in, they'd won Cup Winners' Cups, UEFA Cups, European Cups.
7 of them?
No, 10 of them.
Aye, but 7 of them had European Cup winners, mate.
Yeah, but the other 3 were on the verge of winning the Cup Winners' Cup with Aberdeen. And Ipswich Town with Alan Brazil had won the UEFA Cup.
That's it, yeah.
The 3 Scots, Aston Villa, but the 3 Scots had won the European Cup with Liverpool. The only one who had won a League Cup was you. Yeah. You were the League Cup winner, and the rest of them were all European medals next to him.
It's incredible.
It was absolutely incredible. But I mean, I tell you, listen, we're splitting hairs here. They were well on their way. In fact, if I'm being honest with you, when I looked at the team that you played in 1977 to qualify for the World Cup, I mean, it was just absolute quality rippling throughout that side.
They were all playing top English football.
Yeah.
They were all playing top teams. They were winning the Premiership, whatever it was then, and they were all in cup finals.
League One, wasn't it?
First division.
First division, yeah.
I mean, if we were sitting here and we put the Scotland team up there, and you'd have Dalglish and Jordan in it, you'd be going right.
We're playing with 2 up front.
We're through.
See, to be honest with you, by the way, and I don't mean it in any way.
Both are in their 70s now.
Well, I don't mean to.
I'd still take a chance.
I don't mean to dismiss Kenny, but even if we'd only Joe Jordan, I'd say we've got a chance. Do you know what I mean?
No, to be fair, that he's grown up as a kid. That when you think about some of the guys, Martin Buchan or was
Martin Buchan was there, aye.
McCarry,
Big McQueen.
yeah,
Big Gordon,
he's
aye.
a Hartford.
He's a Hartford.
Yeah, it was
Archie.
Willie Johnson.
Lee Johnson.
So there was a lot of really good players there. The only thing I would say now is start high press, get the crowd up. If we could get a goal, then it changes it. I think they actually get to the point where they would come.
If we score the first goal,
I think that's so
they
important.
will be lurch-packed butter and bacon getting sizzled all over the place. I'm telling you, they will go.
He's just thought about anything, did he?
There's other butter in the supermarkets.
Yeah.
Lord Park.
Oh, thanks for that, Ruffy. That's fantastic. Anyway,
We're running down their legs, Lurch-pack, if we score first.
Yeah.
Come on.
well, with that in mind, we might as well get your thoughts on it, because there's other topics that I want to try and get your thoughts on. Ruffy,
Score.
prediction.
I think we'll lose a goal, but I think we'll win 2-1.
So a wee bit of optimism for you at the end there.
Yeah.
And Steve Clarke obviously deserves great credit. I think you've got to give him credit.
Yes,
He gets us
yes.
there.
Any manager that takes us to World Cup, yep.
Seeded 3 to finish top of this group
Yeah.
would be absolutely amazing.
Legendary stuff.
No. but in a strange way, when you think about
Whoever scores a winner will be a legend.
yeah, well, when you think about
Chance
the
for to be a
managers that
hero.
have gone before,
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, Willie Ormond got us there.
Yep.
And then you had Ali in 78, you had Jock,
yeah.
and then you had Sir Alex sadly taking over in very difficult circumstances.
Craig.
And then you had Craig Brown, you know, and let's not forget Andy Roxburgh got us to European Championships.
Spoiled a few nights out, I know.
Yeah, well, that's another. You're such a bad man, Ruffy. Listen, what's your prediction, Alec?
I'm going to go for 1-0 Scotland.
Well, I think
You think? Well, I think you're a bit tight. This is just more optimism and hope here, really, for me. You know what I mean? Because, as I said, that defence would really need to shore up. Because, as Ruffy says there, they've got some decent players in their ranks.
Is there a responsibility on and listen, you defend as a team.
You have to.
The midfield needs to be responsible.
Yeah, well, the thing is, as I said earlier on, Peter, when I've watched us at times, I feel as if teams have been passing through us and we've been too passive at times. So you kind of get a half press. Teams are just popping us to death and we're not really getting a glove on them. I think if we need McGinn, McTominay, because Ferguson likes to put a foot in as well, you have to get close to these guys. Yeah. Because technically they're very good players.
The first goal was poor against Greece.
Oh, I have to be honest with you, it was worse than that. I thought it was
2 centre-backs were
diabolical. And you see when the centre-halves get crossed over, you think to yourself, I just thought he mistimed it totally, he got it all wrong. We managed to kind of get back into shape after a brilliant save by Big Craig, and then you think to yourself, and it's just the way that Hanley dives in and the boy just goes bump, past. And even at that time, so you're thinking about 2 or 3 mistakes within the phase of one goal. You're thinking at that level you can't afford to do it. That's the reason why it's so important that they are more resolute. Whoever it is he goes with, they have to be kind of like stingy at the back. Don't give nothing away, because otherwise this team can really hurt you.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I think 1-0 as well.
2-1 Scotland. I think we'll go 2-0 up, and then they'll score, and then we'll hang on for grim death at the end for a 2-1. And we'll be partying all over Scotland.
Yeah, just a quick thing on, just a quick mention on the international scene, Ruffy. If you're at the moment, you know, the big guy from Ireland scored 5 goals, Troy Barrett. You have got the freedom of Ireland, 5 goals in 2 games and a hat trick, and the one in the last minutes, just incredible against Hungary.
Listen, Ireland were dead and buried. They had to beat Portugal at home and Hungary away to get in the playoff. And they've done it. They've beat Portugal at home. He scored 2, and then, I mean, it's roiler over stuff, Peter. It's 10 seconds over. There's 5 minutes allocated, and it's 10 seconds over. Last free kick. Big Scales does brilliant, by the way. Absolutely brilliant. Up early, wins it, flicks it down, and I mean, every person in Ireland would be going mental at that point. So delighted for Ireland. Listen, I'd love to see Scotland, England, Ireland, and Wales, and the USA, and Canada, and Mexico.
Yeah,
I think, you know, Ireland, I think was the last one, 94. Ireland got to the World Cup, and was that Jack Charlton's team, and they beat Italy. You know, in the Giant Stadium, New York, there was about 80,000 Ireland fans. Ray Houghton.
Yeah.
Can you imagine Ireland playing in Boston or New York? There were about 1 million fans wanting a ticket. So brilliant.
And by the way, if you think we're in the doldrums, I mean, Wales, obviously, North Macedonia, they want to rattle a few goals in, and then it's a playoff for them as well, and it's a playoff for the Republic of Ireland. But Italy are going to be in the playoffs.
No, and it's
they were thumped by Norway.
Yeah, I know. I don't think the Italians are anywhere near what they once were.
Yeah.
You know, they used to be a dominant force, and I don't quite see that. Even when I look at the Italian league, you know, and I mean this with the greatest respect, you know, Napoli and things, but I look at all the big, like the Spanish, the English. I think they've got the capabilities to take the Italians.
Yeah, I hate to say this, Ruffy, but you know, when I only from not from an anti-English point of view. But from the tribalistic look at Scotland, England, Ireland, Wales, Northern Ireland, is quite simply when we look at all the home nations, and then of course the Republic of Ireland as well, from a close proximity. It's not an anti-English statement. It's I genuinely feel as if England have got a squad that, you know,
Can do some damage.
Could win this. They've been close before, but if they can keep Harry Kane fit, I mean, he's just outrageous.
Yeah, but now they've moved on. What was it, under-23 team, didn't they? They won the World Cup, and they've moved in. You know, and now it's not the old names of the past. It's sort of a new names that are now, you know, coming into the teams and being established and all that. I mean, if Bellingham can't get a game, then they've got a fair old squad.
He's the
pram, yeah. But I mean, at the end of the day, I think Tuchel's right. People are not going to play all the time. It's a squad game now.
I think that was a masterstroke for Tuchel, leaving him out. Probably the biggest name after Harry Kane, left him in the squad, saying you're not doing it. I think that sent a message out to every player. It doesn't matter who you are, if you're not doing it in your club, you're not going to be playing. So I thought that was... I think he's a very, very good manager. He could be the difference. I think Gareth Southgate was a really good manager. I just think the way he speaks about mentality, the German mentality and all that, I think he...
He's can maybe get them on the line.
Aye.
You see the Harry Kane. I watched him last week for Bayern Munich, and I just thought, oh my God, what a player! See the shift that he's put in as well. You know, you look at him and
but he defends. He can
he
pick
does
a
everything.
pass. He's like a number 10.
He can drop
and then he's a number 9.
But see, that's what he does. He just drops into their little pockets, and you've got the runners. The boy, is it Eze?
Eze and Saka and guys like that pace.
Man, see, you look at him, and then by the way, you look at the wee pass for Foden the other day. He seems as if he's starting to hit a bit of form as well. When he just drops it in Eze to wrap it in the corner, I thought, oof. But see, when you think about 78 goals, and he actually hits the ball so well, his link-up play, he's got to be up for the Ballon d'Or on him. In terms of what he's producing.
I think he stands a better chance if you play in mainland Europe. That's my only observation at times. I sometimes think the Ballon d'Or, certainly not in the last 15 years, because it was just here, Messi, you have it.
He'll need to beat Haaland to it.
But you know, sometimes
well, 2 last night.
It's crazy. That was the mention of the 2 international games I wanted to get your thoughts on. There's a couple of little things I want to get your thoughts on before we finish, and that's more domestic issues, which we'll chat about. But if you are enjoying what you're watching, we had a few technical difficulties and a few difficulties last week, but we're back and we've got lots of programming. And if you want to, if you would like to subscribe to PLZ Soccer's premium service by subscribing for the season, your name will be in the hat, and here's a chance for you to win something special.
Get ready for the trip of a lifetime to the Champions League final in Budapest. This is your chance to experience the ultimate footballing event of 2026. Sign up to PLZ Premium for the season and you're in the draw to win the VIP package to the final. Flights, accommodation and tickets all included for you and one friend. Unlock exclusive content and prize giveaways on PLZ Premium. Do not miss out on this incredible opportunity. Secure your spot for the 2026 Champions League final by clicking the link in our bio.
Now, Tam, you're not a big fan of the international break because you love your domestic football. It's coming back. There's a few things that everybody's talking about. One is Wilfried Nancy could be at the front runner now for the Celtic job. I wouldn't, if it's getting closer and he's the front runner, all well and good, but there's been front runners before, you know, for the Celtic job, and then suddenly there's a twist in the tail. If he gets it, what's his pedigree like? Will he be able to bring his backroom staff? Will he be happy with the budget? Will he be happy with the setup there, which is basically you might sign off all the players, but you won't necessarily be signing them?
Well, listen, there've been discussions just now. I think obviously the game next Saturday against St Mirren, they'll be wanting a new manager in. I think when you look at the situation with Celtic with Eddie Howe, it looked as if all Celtic's eggs were in the Eddie Howe basket, and then he knocks it back, and then back a couple of days later, Ange Postecoglou's got the job. So I'm sure that Wilfried Nancy looks as if he is the clear #1 candidate at the minute, but if they don't get him, they'll have 2 or 3 in the background who can come into the club. So, no, I think that in terms of him in the MLS, I still keep a close eye on it. He done really, really well at Montreal, very attacking, went to Columbus Crew, two sides who are not traditionally the biggest clubs in the MLS, and they won the MLS with Columbus Crew, and they won the Leagues Cup with them, which incorporates a lot of the Mexican teams as well. So, I think he plays a really attacking football. They're very possession-based. They were, I think, in the top 20 clubs in the world in terms of possession. So, no, I think he ticks a lot of boxes. The Celtic fans will be thinking MLS, why are we going to get a manager from there? But I think MLS is a good league. I think it's just as good as your league here, if not better. So,
yeah.
No, I think that in terms of him, I don't think he's a big name, a fancy name. But nobody heard of Ange Postecoglou, and he came in and was brilliant at Celtic, and nobody's really heard of him. So, I think it's, reading a lot of people writing him off before he's even come into the door, I think is poor. Because nobody's got a clue how good a coach he is.
Yeah, I don't think. Let's not get embroiled in the Jamie O'Hara situation.
Oh, no.
Because quite simply, every pundit's got their opinion. I don't think, in general, Ruffy, and I worked for TalkSport as well. I don't think you have to justify anything about where Scottish football is, where Celtic or Rangers are. Everybody in Europe is really worried about the imbalance between mainland European clubs who have got a great rich history and what's happening in England. There's such an imbalance in the money. There's great difficulty with clubs, even the big clubs with great history, who've had to literally hawk so many deals. This was Barcelona, who were lauded for having UNICEF on their shirts. Boy, UNICEF were quickly shifted out the door when they had to look at a new stadium, had to look at trying to catch Real Madrid, had to look at trying to keep up the pace with Manchester Cities of the world, the Chelseas of the world, clubs that are owned by states and countries and wealthy oil billionaires.
No, I think the most important thing is he's a new guy. It's somebody that a lot of the supporters won't know about, which is a wee bit of excitement. But the main thing is, as Tam said, about his style of play and the players he's going to identify come in, how he's going to play. And I'm sure they've done their work by asking a lot of people about him, as they do now, and seeing what kind of guy he is. So sometimes when a guy comes to a club we don't know much about, it can be exciting, as long as he wins games.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry for that. I know it was Sky Sports that Jamie O'Hara was talking on at the time. But, we know Celtic and Rangers are not at the level that they would like to be at. And there's no point in talking about them joining an English Premier League. It's just where we are and what you try to do. I mean, I think well beyond our lifetime, I think there will be a change in the structure of football where it'll become even more greedy, where super clubs will eventually get to a point where they just want to play each other.
No, without doubt. Listen, it was an interesting conversation, and clearly Rangers and Celtic are not at the strength they have been in recent years. Now, Celtic have been dominant for a long time now, but even if you go back a couple of years ago, Rangers were at a European Cup final. So, and I think it's lost on people like Jamie in terms of the size of the club when they go, they're a massive club, because they are massive clubs with a worldwide following, and they're in a league that they both of them dominate for generations, really. So I think there's that, but I totally agree with you. There will be some sort of European Super League down the road, and I would imagine Rangers and Celtic will most certainly jump on the back of that, because it all boils down to self-preservation. They'll be looking to try and tag on to whatever level that is, because whatever Rangers and Celtic get invited into, there'll be a bigger league, because Rangers ain't going to the elite stuff right away, no for me.
Yeah, it's an interesting point that you make, but I certainly don't think, as a country, we need to justify anything. Whether people look upon our league with disdain, listen, we criticise it enough here without having to listen to someone down south have a go at us. One thing that I think might be at the back of the mind of the likes of Dermot Desmond is there's an AGM coming up, and maybe they'll think to themselves, and ladies and gentlemen, although there's quite a considerable amount of money in the bank, here's your new manager, it's a new dawn, it's a new beginning, and we're still here and we're not budging regardless of all your...
Yeah, I think they'll be wanting to get that done before then, Peter. And it stops a lot of questions getting asked at that AGM, but I think in terms of what would be a more popular appointment, I think probably amongst the Celtic supporters would be Martin O'Neill at the end of the season. I think a lot of Celtic supporters that I speak to would quite like Martin to be in charge to the end of the season, rather than Wilfred Nancy coming from MLS. But I don't. I think Celtic need a new manager in now. I think they need somebody in, because it's not going to be a cakewalk this season for Celtic to win the league. They've got to go on a run and catch Hearts, and I think Rangers will improve as well. So I think Celtic needs somebody fresh in the building for now at the end of the season.
Somebody sent me a text the other day there and said, who would you have out of all the runners and riders? And I said, I'd have Knutson. I think there's a greater understanding, greater expertise from
What's required.
What's required, and Bodo Glimt have been really good.
Yeah, well, the thing is, the one thing he's created is a real culture there. They got about 8,000 fans, so
tiny club.
To constantly perform at the level he seems to be, because we mentioned earlier on about punching above your weight. This guy's been doing it for a while now. He has a brand of football, and it's exciting. They're always on the front foot. So, yeah, no, listen, I think that's a good shout, Peter. So, assuming you're going back to the boy for the MLS, see what you were talking about, all the talks and all that. He'll know exactly before he steps into there how Celtic operate and how the model works, because you're not walking in there blind and going, right, okay, you get in there and thinking, right, okay, am I signing, are they signing? And so he'll know the parameters he's working within. But if you're talking about going for the MLS to Celtic, I think you're biting the hand off him. I think he would walk here.
Absolutely. It's a big jump for him.
And with that in mind, I know that story will develop, whether it gathers enough pace or whether Martin indeed gets the chance to lead Celtic out in the Premier Sports Cup final. Only time will tell. Rangers. I was listening to the interesting conversation that Kevin Thirlwell delivered on Rangers TV.
Yep.
And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking to myself, obviously from his point of view, this is a lot of pressure. He's talking about delivering a director of football operations. They've got a new manager in that I think he's done well, certainly better organised. And he's got a January transfer window coming up where Kevin Thirlwell is, just emphasised to the Rangers fans, listen, we expect to be busy.
Yeah, we expect to support the guy. And listen, I listened to that interview as well, Peter. I think there was a couple of elements within that. And it's funny because the European football this season has been the polar opposite, but it has been for the last 5 or 6 years. And this guy's come in, he's managed to get 3 wins in the bounce. So I quite like, I've said this on this programme, that I feel as if he's pragmatic, he's willing to change things. And he seems to be getting a tune out of this group at the moment. But with the greatest respect, I think the teams that they've played against has kind of fallen out with the Hibs away. I thought that was a really tricky tie, because Hibs are kind of quite resolute this year. But as games I would expect him to win. So I think there's bigger challenges ahead for him to get his teeth into. But it's a decent enough start within the league. But you've still got to negotiate these next couple of Europa League games as well. So it's trying to get that balance, because I was doing a coaching course a couple of weeks ago, and it was a boy who was talking about a European tie, but their league form was crap, so they kind of sacrificed some European. If it looks like they're not going to qualify out of this kind of league format,
Fringe players.
yeah, and then really focus on the league, and then that allows you to try and bridge that gap that Tam talked to Hearts and Celtic.
I think it's a dead rubber for Rangers.
Yeah.
No, listen, I totally agree with you, but until it's that place, Peter, I see down tools for the next game. I think people are going, well, wait a minute, we've still got an opportunity, albeit it's a long shot.
Yeah.
What did they need? 10 points, is it, from the last 4 games?
The last 4 or something.
I hate to ask you this, but I've got to. Do you think he's pandering to the Rangers fans, talking about they want further discussions with the SFA? What good's it going to go back over this game non-stop?
No. Well, listen, it's really interesting because I have a vested thing here in terms of the process. If they're not happy with the way the process, and so what I mean is how the VAR guys are communicating and things like that could be better put in place. We did this when it was the Cherny pull in the thing, so we've got a monitor like this. You hit it and you go, that's in the box. So we had Colin Stewart and myself. He went to see the 4th official. I went to see the 5th official. He says, you do really need to look at this. This is clearly, and we're looking at a monitor which is an iPad small on your laptop now. Yeah. And we both said this. The time we got to have a look, maybe 20-30 seconds. Time we get down and went to the both officials and says, you need to, that's clearly inside the box. Both of them says it's been cleared and checked. So we felt at that particular time that the process has not been followed, and you've seen it in subsequent. There's a process. I think there has to be a clearer kind of lines of communication for how you go about all this, because again, after the one in the final a couple of weeks ago, it seemed to be very quick in with their decision. It was only a couple of seconds. I felt as if
the trusty one.
Yeah, I felt as if it was really quick. I don't think so. Obviously, the referee's given his opinion. And then they have to. I know one thing. See the Dundee United one up at Tannadice. The referee wanted more and more images at that one to reinforce his decision. So I think there has to be a clear. Even though the referee in the final a couple of weeks ago was clear that he felt as if there was minimal, I still think the people in the VAR room have to be more diligent in their process, and I think that's probably what Rangers are looking at.
Yeah. What good did it do you going up and saying you should have a look at this, because they are alone to themselves within that game. They decide.
No. Well, by that time he went, it's been cleared and checked. I says, it can't be. We've just looked at it on the screen. So we were like kind of irate about the actual decision because we could clearly see it was on the line.
Yeah.
It was just like in the line.
Live pictures you were having in live?
Oh, so basically we had to wait about 5 or 10 seconds before it actually comes through, Tam. So by the time we put it back and go, so we look at it in real time, then you put it back 10 seconds and then you look again. So you're about 30 seconds by the time you get down there. And then the time you get down there, when it's cleared and checked. And I think that process, so what I'm trying to say is the lines of communication and the process, regardless of what the referee's saying, I think there seems to be a bit of dubiety from game to game, and I think that's maybe what they could be looking at.
Yeah.
But
so you think it's well within his rights to say, listen, I want to have a chat with you about this. We need more clarification, as will a Dundee United manager. Listen, if a St Mirren manager is...
Peter, can I just tell you something? So see, the thing is, I heard one or two pundits at the time saying it was a disgrace, and people actually asking, they want a meeting with the SFA. More or less every single team speaks to Willie Collum on a regular basis about decisions.
Yeah.
So just because that's a headline, they're not just doing that instinctively. There's a constant dialogue with the refereeing department.
It's an interesting one, and we will wait to see exactly what comes out of it. Willie Collum, certainly over the last week, stuck by his referees and their decisions, as ever.
Did anybody here actually expect him not to back Nick Walsh?
Yeah, he's got.
Did anybody actually expect?
If he doesn't, he throws him under the bus, doesn't he?
Yeah. Well, listen.
He sets a precedent of.
He's decided to be. He's decided to be transparent, and at times I think behind the scenes he's leathered a few referees for some of the decisions that have been made, and certainly not been happy when some of them have got it wrong.
Is that the clear-cut ones?
Well, this is the debate on it, and I think what we consistently on this programme, and I was taking your point on what Kevin Thelwell said, is we want consistency on a regular basis, and if it's not consistent, then you're going to get a situation where you want clarification, you want to put the call in. Stephen Robinson, if ever a manager wanted to put the call in, week out, it was him with some of the decisions that have gone against him. Listen, we've talked about VAR, we've talked about Celtic and their quest for a manager. There's football to look forward to at the weekend, and all this week we'll be talking in the build-up to the domestic scene, but everything is all about, hopefully, This group of footballers tomorrow wearing the dark blue of Scotland, once the national anthem is sung, we're hoping they can maybe just get a wee bit of luck that Ruffy used to have all those years ago.
You still got luck now, ain't you, son?
When Scotland qualify for a World Cup, it would be fantastic. Obviously, Tam and I will be looking towards the venues where Scotland might be, but there you are, Ruffy. There's your clobber. That's the...
Name one of your fingers or a goblet, no gloves?
No gloves. But by the way, Ruffy...
I was just to get through his perm.
When I was a kid at school, we automatically had your chewing gum card and we thought, we're going to the World Cup. Tam and I will obviously go. You'll be up in the north of Scotland taking your usual money for an after-dinner thing. You'll miss out on Mexico, America.
I've got a gig in Mexico.
Yeah. Fingers crossed we do it. Listen, great to have everybody back with
That
us.
laugh.
Coming up, by the way, if you get a chance, thanks to Alec, thanks to Ruffy, thanks to Tam and for myself. Don't forget, we're getting ever closer to Christmas. Have a wee look in the shop and you might get one of these legends.
PLZ Soccer Shop. 20 football legends, one incredible collection, canvas, prints, t-shirts. Pele, Maradona, Cruyff, Messi, Ronaldo. Wear them, frame them, celebrate them. From the pitch to your wall, they're yours. The Legends Collection, only at the PLZ Soccer Shop. Click the link and get yours now.